How can you reduce your fears when starting a business? This is a classic question asked by wannabe entrepreneurs who are just getting started, business owners who have maybe taken over a business or are in the midst of growing, but there is an implicit fear involved in undertaking anything new, certainly in business, a new venture or a new opportunity. So the question of how can you reduce your fears when starting and growing a business? To me, it comes down to some human psychology stuff, I think. I'm not a psychologist, but this is what it seems to me, having worked in business for almost 2 decades, that as long as you know where you're trying to go, out in the far future, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, whatever it is, there has to be something you're working towards way out in the future that today you believe it's a goal that you can get to. Because what fear is, let's face it, it's the unknown. What we get scared about is, what if things don't work out? What if I don't get that customer? What if I don't close that deal? What if I don't make as much money as I can? So it's fear of the unknown. And the only way to get rid of the unknown is to make it known. So if you start with your goal and you say, this is where I need to be in 10 years, it doesn't need to be exact, but it needs to be specific enough that you know today whether you're on track or off track from reaching it. And then every day, every week, every month, you need to work backwards into milestones that you know you need to achieve in order to hit that goal. And then as you revisit those milestones in your moment of fear, you can adjust. So if you know that, for example, you're starting a business and one of the first goals that people make is to say, I want to be able to replace my income within the next 8 weeks, or within the next 12 weeks, I need to see that there's an opportunity for me to replace my income with this new thing that I'm doing. And so week 1, week 2, week 3, you start to measure the things that you need to be doing in order to replace your income. And if you're starting to find that you're veering way off track, then you've got to say to yourself, okay, now how do I pull it back in? What do I do if I start going way off track? How do I pull things back into alignment so I can get to where I'm going? So how do you reduce your fears when starting or growing a business? It's to remove the unknowns by creating milestones that you know you need to hit in order to reach an overall goal. And then every day or every week, there's got to be a feedback loop where you can measure and be honest with yourself and say, am I advancing towards where I'm going? Or am I off course? And what do I need to do to get back on course? And in some cases, you might even need to create a plan B that says, if I'm not able to hit these milestones over weeks or months, depending on what your goals are, then I'm going to switch tracks and I'm going to do something entirely different. But both of plan A and plan B, both are designed to ultimately get me to my goal. So hopefully you find that helpful. Hopefully you can see how removing your fears comes from making sure that there's nothing to be fearful of. Your performance is going to be measured by the milestones that you put down. And if you don't put down milestones, then you have nothing to measure and you will be fearful. But if you can pragmatically sit back, look at your circumstances, define your goal, set some milestones in place, then it becomes easier every single day to get up and work towards hitting those milestones. And if you're off track, have a plan to adjust or switch tracks into an entirely different plan. So get rid of the unknowns. That will reduce your fears, and good luck.